Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Clone Wars Season 7 spoilers review. Oh boy, I am. There's a lot of good ones, but I'll just go the Clown Prince of Podcast Trust now. There's so many good ones I can't choose, so.
I'm gonna go with. I'm just gonna go with the Mandalorian, Taylor Field.
I think you've done that one quite a few times.
It's always relevant, though. I mean, we're always going back to Mandalore.
Yeah, we really are. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't guessed, we are reviewing the newest episode of Clone Wars, Old Friends But Not Forgotten. I will not read the synopsis because I don't have a non-spoilers one with me, but as always, you can go back and check out. We reviewed the entire season. We were doing a bunch of retros right now, so you can jump over to Patreon and, oh god, we've done a lot. We've done Cocktail, we've done Steel, we've done
Shaq Fu.
well, that's Steel.
Oh, yeah.
We've done Snowpiercer. We've done lots of stuff. Next, we're
Dark
gonna
Man.
Dark Man. Yeah. Next, we're gonna be doing a Dragon Ball Z movie. Taylor, what's your experience with Dragon Ball Z? Just not,
Um,
like quickly, have you seen it much or no?
no, I don't know anything about it. I just know Super Saiyan mode, and they all got the hairdos. That's all I know.
They all got that's kind of what I know, and I know they get like Super Saiyan. They get really bright and I know Piccolo. I like Piccolo. I know nothing about him. I just like his appearance. So
Mm.
but yeah, so we have that coming up, and then also we're gonna do a newscast this week because we got some other juicy stuff finally to talk about. Some new movies, directors confirmed, yada yada yada. So that's good. And then there's two retros to announce, but I'm not gonna announce them here. I'm gonna announce them on news, but there's some big ones. So go check out. And then as always, the descriptions are down below for the video and audio feeds. If you want us to review a movie or commentary track, right now it'd be reviewed just because of COVID. We're remote podcasting, you know that. We will pick any tier you choose, the dollar tier all the way to the $100 tier, whatever it is. We will review any movie of your choice. Then you also get to make a topic on the newscast. So that's lots of fun. But yeah, we've been having lots of fun, and I just shout out to all the patrons. We've had a bunch of new patrons subscribe, and we've had a bunch of people jump up the tier. So that's very helpful because in the times like these, it's like there's not much new content to review, so we really appreciate that, and we hope you guys are all enjoying the content. We enjoy doing it. We're having a fun time. We're trying to make the best of the situation. Taylor, where can they find us on all the social medias?
You can find us, ladies and gentlemen, with your internet connection in the search bar, Geekverse Space Podcast. Go to our website, geekverse.ca, and Twitter, geekversecast. And yeah, make sure you check out our Clone Wars poll. It's popping off on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be nearing the third round soon. And I think tonight it's the Xylo Beast versus Asajj Ventress, which is pretty hype.
The Xylo Beast. I wonder who's
The
gonna win
Xylo
that
Beast.
one.
I think definitely Asajj
Well,
Ventress.
yeah, I'm being sarcastic. There's no way the Xyla Beast is gonna win that one. So,
I do
uh,
want to shout out though. There's these two fans that they follow the poll, and it's funny because one of them will comment some obscure term or reference associated to it, and then another, like his friend that he tags, will always respond. They'll be like oh long head does good, and then his friend's like, yeah, great deeds, and it's just really random, like stuff like that.
yeah, we got some fun fans on there. So yeah, head over to social media. Like I said, all the descriptions for your podcast and video feeds are down below wherever you are going. And yeah, stay tuned because we might have some fun announcements in the near future. So you never know what's popping off of here at the Geek First, but you know what's popping off today is Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 9. Old Friends But Not Forgotten. Taylor Field, I'm going to start with you. What were your thoughts on this episode? Obviously, this is the kickoff of a new arc, so no spoilers in case anybody is watching that hasn't, watched this episode today. There's always a chance, but what were your thoughts?
Yeah, so I had just come off a hot and heavy Call of Duty streak, and I was like, okay, it's 2 a.m. It's time to pop on some Clone
You
Wars,
ghosted
and
Kirklin last night.
I didn't know he messaged me. I was playing Plunder with someone else,
Plunder.
but yeah, so I got into bed and I was like, okay, let's pop this on, and right away when the episode started, it was like, okay, this is just completely. It feels like a totally refreshed, reskinned like show in such a great way, and I loved how it just kicked off and was just delivering things. It felt fresh, it felt exciting to me. It feels like that this is um like I feel like maybe the other story arcs were probably like pre-done maybe before the show was canceled in a way, like what they
Mm-hmm.
were doing. But this just felt, I even felt like the animation was newer and fresher. Like so much of it felt different, and I'm really really happy with that. Again, like I love my clone stuff, and I got so much clone stuff in this. It's so good. And it, again, like the episode set up so many things, and it set up one thing very much in particular that just has you like, oh no, like you're pulling at your heartstrings a little bit, and it's just crazy. But overall, the episode was, it was fresh. It had such great development of these characters. Obviously, we know Ahsoka is in it, and I really really love seeing Ahsoka's development to the point where, you know, she's talking in these having conversations with original characters, and she's making these like statements and being very confident in herself and laying down the law in
Mm-hmm.
that sense. I'm like, this is great. You know, Ahsoka just they did her so good in this episode. They gave her such a like breath of fresh air, and just like, I think fans of Ahsoka, like old fans that liked her, will be so happy with this episode, and new fans alike will just be falling in love with this character. So,
You know, this might be a controversial statement, but I think I'm going to say that I think this may be the greatest episode of Clone
oh
Wars. Now, yeah,
wow,
now, like, it's only been a few, like, half an hour since I've watched it, but I love this episode from start to finish. And I think there's other episodes that are great. We've talked about Rookies before. We've talked about, like, the ending of the last, like, Maul and Duchess Satine and all that, and ObiWan. Like, those are some really good episodes. Those Ahsoka episodes when she's set up, those are some great episodes. Those are episodes I gave 2 thumbs up, and I said those were top tier. If this isn't the best, it's on that tier. But the second it starts, and I won't get into any spoilers because I want to say it, but just the second it starts, like you said to me when you told me privately, well, it's just a chat. Of course, it's private.
privately
Yeah,
in
he.
closed
Yeah,
quarters.
yeah. Weeks ago, he's like, "You're not gonna believe the beginning, episode 9. I got the scoop." But no, it just starts off and it feels different. And this is obviously it can't be this way because I'm not sure if I agree the animation was different. I don't know if it was different because it was a higher budget. I don't know, but it just made me feel like I wish the show was this all the time. And no disrespect to the past because I think they've done some great to good storylines, also some bad ones here and there. But that's almost every show, right? But I think there has been great episodes. That's not taking away from the past. It's just, there's good pizza, and then there's like really good pizza. And that's what this was. This was really good pizza. And this was the episode that I agree with you has, I think, something for every fan. I feel it has stuff for the OG fans because you get Anakin and Obi-Wan talking. You have stuff for the Clone Wars fans for Ahsoka. And then you got fans of people like you that just like are freaks with their clones and their armies and stuff like that. Like I think it offered everything you could want. And they were little small bites, but you got lightsaber battles, you got fights, you got dog fights, you kind of got everything in between. So, and character development, like you said, Ahsoka, to see from where she was, the three stages I feel in this series are like you got the beginning where she's a rookie, you got the middle where she's kind of caught in between the Jedi and what she wants to do, and then you get this new Ahsoka. But the thing is, we'd never fully seen that new Ahsoka with Obi-Wan and Anakin, and you got to see it like a tad when she left in season 5 or 6, whatever it is. I guess season 5, but like you had to see it a tad, but really she developed on her own when she left. So to get to see them interact was great again. And Anakin, I got some stuff because I always got stuff to say about Anakin, but yeah, and what was I gonna say? I can't remember. It was the characters were great, animation was great. Yeah, it's and I guess that's the last point I have. It just had a super cinematic feel, and that's not just because some of the maybe choices they used, but it felt like Spider-Verse. It felt like Pixar. It felt like an animated movie in the theaters. I've still never seen the Clone Wars movie. We never watched that, and people just tell me never to. But people didn't make good, words about that to me. Didn't say good things about it. But this just felt like I'm very excited for all these parts because it's a minor spoiler. This is a part 1, so I think these last 3 parts are going to be kind of what Taylor's been saying for a while, conjoining story. I think you could watch this as like one solid movie once it's all together. And yeah, I loved this episode. It was fantastic. And like I said, this is one I will definitely be watching again. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. So anything you want to say before we get into spoilers?
No, just that. Yeah, I've watched it again. I'm gonna watch it probably another time tonight. It's just, it was so good, and I like what you said. It was very cinematic and how it felt. And again, the score, probably my most favorite score of all time that they've done in the Clone Wars. So yes, because it does take a lot of what we've had already, but I love those old tracks, and to have them represented with these new action sequences just blows my mind. And again, like even Ahsoka there's one scene where she's got this awesome like score to like her like
Hmm.
fighting, and immediately I thought like, whoa, is this Ray's theme all of a sudden? But then it diverted and changed into this whole brand new track, and it was so good. So just they put a lot of care into this episode. I remember seeing all the comments, people freaking out like this season's a letdown. Why did they do all this stuff? And now everyone's like, oh, this was the so good, so good. Season 8's awesome. Like, oh, get off the bandwagon, you phonies.
Get get off the. Well, they're allowed to dislike what has come before.
Yeah, I know, but they're just like there are a lot of them are like pylons, you know. They're just like, oh, worst season ever, and then it's like, you know, the masses like there could be like a mass murderer that just kills a bunch of kids, like, oh, kill him, and then he's like, here, free iPads for everyone. They're like, oh, greatest guy in
Okay,
the world.
you are making some huge accusations. People being kid murderers to like turning around. That was a wow. Like, oh my goodness. We're gonna steer away from that one to their field. So, so anyway, yeah, we both like the episode, obviously. So this is your last chance before we get into spoilers. So 3, 2, 1.
It's simple.
Yeah, okay, so here we go. Old friends not forgotten. Ahsoka and Bo-Katan contact Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, asking them for help apprehending Darth Maul and his new hideout on Mandalore. While Obi-Wan is apprehensive, Anakin and the 501, the 50, damn it, I was so close. What are they called?
501st.
The 501st give Ahsoka a warm welcome and hear the news arrive that separatists are attacking Coruscant. There's been Coruscant a lot in these breakdowns. Upon Anakin's suggestion, Rex, field promoted to commander, and part of the 501st, accompanies Ahsoka to Mandalore, forcing Maul's loyals under Gar Saxon into retreat. Bo-Katan apprehends Almec, while Ahsoka follows the trail into the city's tunnel network, only to walk right into Maul's trap. So, and this is where I'm going to start because Wikipedia has this. Note, this episode's title card is red instead of yellow and features the Star Wars theme by John Williams. And man, did I get hyped when all this was going down. Just from the second you see a Lucasfilm production, but it's different and it's in the green, right away you feel like, okay, this is going to be something special. The red title card pops up, so you're getting those Revenge of the Sith vibes because we're literally about to overlap with that story, right? Like I feel like last few episodes will, because we'll get into it, but they even show us some like identical scenes almost where some certain Jedis are hanging
Oh
out.
yeah.
And man, was that hype. So it's literally overlapping with Revenge of the Sith. And then you got the Star Wars music. And I like, other than the first season had some awful Star Wars music. Some of that rock and roll Star Wars stuff, not good. But it did get better. I think Kevin Kline has one of the best Star Wars like soundtracks next to like Knights of the Republic. Like I've been kind of 50-50 with some of the movies. Mandalorian is the best one, I'd say, out of all of them. But other than Mandalorian, the rest of the live action stuff was Solo and Rogue One. Rogue One I did not like. Solo, there's some tracks in there I like, but I've never loved a score. Clone Wars, it does pretty well, but there was just something about hearing that theme with Clone Wars, which was so exciting. And then also just seeing, like you said, it was different versions or tweaks of the Star Wars music, but seeing that sprinkle throughout the episode, that's where it had the cinematic feel. It felt like it was actually a part of the universe, and that's always been my biggest thing. Where it can do that, but I just feel like sometimes in Clone Wars there's so much stuff that is just ignored because it's not in the movie, so it doesn't feel like it matters. This episode felt like it mattered, and I loved every second of it. And I think they did a really good job. And just even just little stuff like the movie. And I know we've been talking about that lately, that they've been more connecting to Mandalorian and stuff like that. But this just again felt like the most connected. Other than I'll bring up Anakin later. I still always have a problem. I don't feel Anakin fits with what he was in Revenge of the Sith, especially. A character clash. But as far as the music, the look, the feel, I think they just knocked that out of the park.
Yeah, no, this episode it blew my mind. Like when that first title credit or just dropped, and then the red, I was like, oh, we got the red Darth Maul kind of aesthetic again, which is super hype. And just I wasn't expecting the score, you know, the quote not being there. It just felt so
Mm-hmm.
different. I felt like, okay, I feel like I'm in a theater right now. And I looked, and I was like, is this like? And it says part one, which got me really hyped. I'm like, is this like a 40-minute episode? And it was like a full 30 minutes, which
Yeah.
was amazing. And we covered so much ground, but it never felt rushed, which I loved. You know, again, like you said, starting off in these familiar places and getting to see like Ayla Sakura and all these other Jedi and the locations we know that they die in, which was like really heartbreaking. And again, like knowing, like seeing Grievous in that first like opening segment, he looks so good. He looks so much better than his
Yeah.
previous renders. Like, oh, his like he looked. I don't even know how. Like he just been in quarantine for like 6 years. He
Oh
could
no!
stay
Don't bring
like
up
so.
quarantine.
Well, I know, but he looks so like run down, and like his like
He's
he
been
has like
social
bags in
distancing.
his eyes. Yeah, like social distancing. Yeah. But it's just he looks so good, and I can't wait to see like where this is going. But yeah, when it started off and when they're like, yeah, we're gonna go to like Coruscant and all that stuff, that's when it gave me like goosebumps, thinking that like, wow, I could literally pop on Revenge of the Sith and see what happens with them, you know.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be cool to see how this parallels. And again, I love how they kind of set up the story of why Rex wasn't in Revenge of the Sith. He was busy with Ahsoka, and the fact that he's finally Commander Rex, I love that. That's just so nice to say. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with Rex, Ahsoka, and with Maul now, I guess.
Well, and we kind of did this last week where we went off trail a little bit, but we're gonna talk about the episode. But I think there's a really good shot that Darth Maul is in Mandalorian season 2. And the reason I think that is, I think because remember we heard some rumors and I kind of shot them down because it was like Sam Witwer. I think after the Mandalorian finale, spoilers for Mandalorian, they show the dark saber, right? And both
Yeah.
like Ray Park and Sam Witwer kind of tweet or Instagram some stuff, and people are like, "Oh, is this mean?" Blah blah blah. I'm not saying he's going to be resurrected, but I think there's a chance if Ahsoka's in it, we may get some sort of flashback to Maul. And I just think, just imagine whenever that Mandalorian season 2 trailer drops, you start the trailer, you got the Mandalorian Adventures, you got Baby Yoda, they show Ahsoka, you're getting hyped, this is fantastic. They show Rex, you're getting fantastic. And then that trailer ends with the double-bladed lightsaber, because then everyone is gonna,
Ooh.
like, people are gonna freak out and be like, "Oh my god, he's back!" No, once you put the math together, it's like I did with fucking Dark Ray, which everyone on this podcast said, "Oh no, that's not the case." It would just be okay. It's a flashback, but I think that would still, for people not in the knowing, like they would see Darth Maul unlike Solo and be like, "I'm confused." They would have time to maybe talk to people and get caught up. You'll see Twitter articles. And even then, you might just be, "Oh, I'm interested to learn more." I'm not going to say 100%, but I'm definitely over the 50% line that there's a chance Darth Maul is in this show, or sorry, in Mandalorian season 2. And just like I speculated last week, we might be wrong about this as well, because like Rosario Dawson is older, so they're probably not playing. She's probably playing Ahsoka after Rebels, but there's always a chance that the Crimson Dawn show that we heard about is Ahsoka as our main lead. And I think if that's the case, that's where you get Maul in there. Maybe that's the setup of like she's in Mandalorian season 2. They talk about the past of her and Maul. This is the setup. Mandalorian is like the setup for live action, and then the show is kind of their battles, and maybe they had a rivalry. I don't know, but I'm a bit more convinced now, just because this just feels so intertwined with what's happening right now. It feels very Rogue One-ish as far as like, okay, you could end this and then pop in Revenge of the Sith right in the way. Same thing as Rogue One, you could end that and then pop in A New Hope. So what do you feel about that, my potential thought there that there could be a flashback featuring Ahsoka and Darth Maul Mandalorian Season 2?
I think you have a very possible like chance of being right. I think that Maul is like their golden boy. They can drop him in whatever media they
Yeah,
want. They drop in Clone Wars, Rebels, Solo. They'll throw him wherever they want.
yeah.
So
Except the sequel
I
series.
yeah, except yeah. I think that yeah, him being alive in The Mandalorian season 2, I think it's a no-go. I think he's finally dead. I'm sure Obi-Wan buried his body or whatever, and that's put to rest. So I think chance of a flashback, I think 100%. He is literally the cause of the downfall of Mandalore. He's so connected to Mandalore's history now
Yeah.
through everything he's done. Um, it just makes sense to include. But now I feel like Ahsoka is intertwined with, how Mandalore is going to turn out from this. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to unfold. But yeah, I think whatever they're doing here, whatever their game is, they're definitely setting up their next show. I think if Mandalorian season 2 has a trailer and we get to see like Ahsoka and Rex, that's like they've got so many of the fans right there. And then sure enough, if they drop like Maul like doing a spin and spinning his lightsabers around, like
Oh
then they would
yeah.
just snag it. Like Ray Park popping off again. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ. So
Yeah, that'd be
that's
fantastic.
yeah, that's something that would be huge, just huge, huge, huge. And to me, it doesn't make sense not to do that. Again, they have access to this whole universe and all these characters, and to not like tap into like it feels like they don't want to give into what fans want and give us what we want, because it's like I don't know why they hold themselves back. It's like there's like a really cute girl next to them, and they don't want to ask her out. They don't want to ask her out. They're refusing the temptation to ask her out. They want to focus on their studies, at schoolwork. But it's like, no, just have fun. Ask the pretty girl out. Put Maul in Mandalorian season 2. Just let loose and just divulge into everything you got, right?
You gotta watch Too Hot to Handle. That's a very similar subject in that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially too because you got the dark saber in play. Like you talked about the fall Mandalore, but also with the dark saber coming in for season 1 or at the end of season 1 of Mandalorian. I think there's just so much there. Where same thing that could be used to set up this Crimson Dawn show. That could be just to have Maul, because I think a Maul appearance helps in Mandalorian, and I think that you could do a I don't know if you have to because it might feel odd, but I think fans would still warrant you could do almost an entire Ahsoka episode in Mandalorian, right? And I don't think fans are going to complain. New fans might be a little thrown off, but I think as long as you make that episode good and the character compelling, I think that's completely fine, right? So.
I hope no one would complain. Who's this? Who's this alien Jedi girl?
Well, you never know because there's people like with Stranger Things season 2 that didn't like 11's like solo episode. If you ever do a solo episode of a character that's not the main character or like the whole main character, sometimes people might get a little like like antsy about it, but so yeah, I guess that was the end as far as like Maul. We talked about that, but yeah, Maul, the trap sprung. So I just knew in my gut, and I couldn't believe it. And like you said, I love that it was half an hour. I wish the whole season of that, but I can't get it. I think you're right as far as like those other ones feel like they were made before, and this was kind of made after, or just had the updated stuff. But I knew it was going to end with that cliffhanger of she's going to get right to Maul, especially because like the thumbnail when you click on this episode, it shows them having a lightsaber fight. So I'm like, oh baby, this is going to be good. So that's not a complaint. I just like when and I was like, oh no. And he's like, I was expecting Kenobi. So I cannot wait for that. What do you think happens? Do you think one of them wins, or do you think it comes down to a draw?
I think it'll come down to a draw and that Rex is going to save her or get her out
Mm,
of there. Honestly, my prediction is that we're going to see Order 66 unfold later on, and we're going to see Rex um, go AWOL and protect Ahsoka and get her out of there. I
yeah.
think at this point he's probably removed his inhibitor chip, but I think that's what's going to play out here. I think like with the battle and like seeing all of these like Mandalorian, like Maul's Mandalorians and his commandos are just super cool. I
Oh
love
yeah,
Gar
their armor.
Saxon's armor. Like
Yeah.
his armor is sick, and it's cool because he's actually a character in Rebels that you get to meet. He's an Imperial Mandalorian, or whatever that works for the Empire or
Okay,
something like
I'm not
that.
that far
So
then yet.
yeah, he's a pretty cool character. So I wasn't expecting to see him pop off in Clone Wars here, which was just awesome. But yeah, seeing like how many like forces Maul has is just like mind boggling.
Oh yeah.
It was cool to see Almec in a different light, like fighting and like with his armor on and everything, because he was just like that white robe politician guy before. So he was pretty cool. I love how when Bo-Katan just has the 500 first, and they're flying in, and Almec's like, the Republic can't break this treaty, and she's like, I don't care, and it's this whole invasion force. Again, like I love this Clone Wars stuff when they're all invading.
Yeah.
It was so good, and then just like flying around and leading again to Ahsoka's scene where she didn't need the jetpack and she jumps out and she's like fighting, and that score kicks in, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
just so good. Oh,
Yeah, no, I thought it was very cinematic, very well done. Yeah, I thought they did such a good job. What are your thoughts on Anakin and hers reuniting or reunion? I don't know why I put the knighting in there, but what were your thoughts on that? Because that was a big build up. They're like, oh, because who did he think it was? He thought it was Saw Gerrera, which was a nice little shout out to show, okay, Saw Gerrera's still out there, cool. But then he learns that it's not Saw, it's Ahsoka, and then they're reunited. So what did you think about that?
well, fulcrum is like I don't know a lot about the term fulcrum. Just that it's what they use in Rebels as like little rebel cells and all that stuff. And in this case, I guess yeah, it was Guerrera's like term fulcrum.
Hmm.
I have to go back. I can't remember I think we covered it in the arc with him and Stila Guerrera. I think
Mm.
they talked about fulcrum a little bit there, but I can't remember for sure. So fans, if you know, post in the comments. But anyway, so yeah, I think that was awesome when she used that term and popped back into the picture, and like the dynamic, you could feel the tension, and he really wanted to like catch up, and if he had his way, he'd probably be like, Ahsoka, come to the Jedi Order, it's all gonna be better,
Oh
because he
yeah.
likes things under like his roof, his umbrella that he can contain. But I think it was good that she kept her distance because she really showed to him that she's grown up, she's on her own, place, and like you really got to see more developments from Anakin, where Anakin's like, "Oh, what were you doing on that planet?" You know, like he's trying to control things when he needs to just let things go. And Ahsoka understands that. You know, she's like, "Just it's the time and place. We can't talk right now. We have other things to cover and
He
all that
still doesn't
stuff."
understand that yet. He's her master.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Um, but yeah, she's again, it just adds to like her character. I like how they had the moment where they were walking and he was about to give her the lightsabers, and like she got to see the clones with their painted helmets, which is really
Oh
nice. And
yeah, I got
when
goosebumps.
she
Legit.
oh yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah.
so good. When she got the lightsaber, or when she was about to get the lightsabers, I like how the moment was interrupted and the sirens went off, and Anakin's like, "So the mission to Mandalore got approved," and everyone's like, "No, we're going to Coruscant." And but I again, like even then when Ahsoka stands up to Obi-Wan, seeing Anakin kind of like caught in between, his eyes kind of glow up a little bit, like he feels like tension, like what's going on, and he I like how he was supporting Ahsoka though. If he didn't, you know, and he went with, well, God, it's hard to say like how this story here could have changed so much for Revenge of the Sith. Like if they chose not to go and help at Coruscant, how would that have changed? He would have been stuck in the Outer Rim sieges, and he wouldn't have Order 66 would have been delayed or not happened right away, right? Or if Ahsoka ended up coming back with him, Ahsoka would have been executed along with, you know, the other Jedi.
I think if, because I know it was the timing of it, but if he went with Ahsoka, I don't think Order 66 would happen yet, because you still need him to. Have you ever heard the story of the
Oh yeah.
Darth Plagueis the Wise? So if you think about it, he wouldn't be in that location, right? Like, let's say he went AWOL just to help Ahsoka. So I think they would have, and without Anakin, there's a chance Obi-Wan doesn't catch Grievous or kill Dooku, right? So I think it's just, I think it would have changed a lot, and maybe like some things would have changed, but I think if things would have been all right, it would have been back to its natural course of, okay, Anakin goes back to the Republic, and then Ahsoka just s off and does her own thing, right? So like, I think it would have delayed things, but I don't think it would have changed too much, because I think everything like I guess the only thing I could have changed is if Ahsoka in this took a while and Padme had the baby before he had these visions of her dying, right, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like if if she had the baby before Palpatine got a chance to put some ideas in his head. So that's the only thing. Because if he has the kids, maybe he doesn't turn evil. So yeah, I would hope he has his baby. Maybe he doesn't slaughter all these other kids. You know, Master Skywalker. But yeah. So there's a chance if it goes on long enough, you could have Anakin could have potentially been saved.
Mm. Yeah, it's fun to think about. I mean, we know that that's out the window now because
Well,
he kind of killed everyone, but
yeah.
it's still a fun thing to think about too, a little bit. But
Well, that's why I want them. I hope it's a hit. I want them to take a page from Marvel. I want them to do a what if show. I think that's a prime thing for Star Wars. I think you could have, let's say if it was 6 episode or 9 episodes a season for the 9 film sagas, do 3 in the OG trilogy, 3 in the prequels, and 3 in the sequel series. You know, I think there's so much potential there. I think you could do, you could do the what if Rey really did turn bad? You know, what if Luke turned bad? You know, all this good stuff. What if Anakin didn't turn bad? All these things. What if Darth Maul killed Obi-Wan in the desert of Tatooine? I think we've always talked about like what if episodes, like are doing an episode. So probably once Clone Wars ends, we're gonna start doing more cantinas. Just usually this takes a slot for cantinas. So I'm down to do it, but I think there's just a wealth of stuff to talk about. So not my problem with Anakin and Ahsoka. I don't really have much of a problem. It's just stuff I've repeated before, where I just feel this is right now we're overlapping Revenge of the Sith, and I've just always said this in the series, and I feel this now, especially as we're so close to Revenge of the Sith. I just feel that Anakin is just he's just too cool and calm and collected for the movies. I feel like he just does that character to me does not act the same way that Anakin does as he does in Revenge of the Sith. It's not to the same extreme, but to me it's kind of like Shazam, where I feel like the adult Billy and then the kid Billy are so different, where I feel like, oh, that's Zachary Levi playing Shazam, and then there's this kid playing Billy Baston, so I don't feel there. I don't see the connection, and that's to me what this still feels like sometimes. I don't feel like this Anakin is the same one in less than a week or so that's going to slaughter all these kids, or is that being emotionally like he's emotionally traumatized due to like a Padme being pregnant, or I guess he doesn't know that yet, but just he doesn't seem like, to me, even in that scene he's in control, but when he kills Dooku he feels so like a loose cannon still, where this he just doesn't feel like it. So, and I also think that is writing, but I just also have always said I don't think Hayden Christensen is the greatest. I don't think he could portray maybe what they want to as they do in the series. So that's just my only critique. It's not anything to take a point off. It's just because the whole series, I feel like Anakin in here and Anakin in the live actions are very differently portrayed. I'm not a fan of it. But Ahsoka in Rebels has white lightsabers, right?
Yes. You
How?
know how white lightsabers come into play, right?
Not yet. I know that aren't they supposed to be like neutral or something like that as far as like you're standing with the Force or something?
Um, they're pretty much just how do I explain this? So when you have like dark crystals, like you know you make your crystal kyber crystal.
Yeah.
Okay, you make your kyber crystal bleed, right?
Yeah.
So basically, if you
Stupid.
purify it, it basically turns to
Right.
white crystals. So what she's done is she's taken Inquisitor's lightsaber crystals and purified them.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. So okay, I was wondering because I'd forgot that fact. So I was like, is this where she gets the white lightsabers? But this is the thing too, where so she had yellow before, correct?
It was like a green and a lime green.
Yeah, I just feel like Anakin's just such a narcissistic prick to give her
Oh,
blue.
he takes shots at her. He's like, she turns them on, and he's like, good as or just same as old, but maybe a bit better. And she like smirks at him because it's the blue, right?
Yeah, and it's just like, man, get off your train. Like, I get it, but like, here's the thing. One, I'm saying that jokingly because I think that goes towards the character that they've set up in the series, at least not the movies, where he does care about Ahsoka and he's wanting to kind of look after her, and he's like passing down his baton in a way already, as far as like blue to blue, kind of same way ObiWan did. So I like that. I just laughed at like, here you go, I picked the color for you. It's the same color as mine. You're Master Skywalker. It's like, oh fuck you, Anakin. I still hate you, but yeah, I'm trying to think what else. We talked about Anakin and Ahsoka. The other point I'll bring up that I don't know how much more we'll get of him, but I love that we did start this episode with Obi-Wan. We got to see him interact with Ahsoka like we talked about, but just some good action as well. Like I said, I don't know how much more we'll get to see him. That's been probably my biggest complaint, my second biggest, other than I feel like some episodes took a little too slow, was that I wanted more Obi-Wan. I get it. We have 4 movies with him. We're going to get a TV show. So at the end of the day, it's not that raw of a deal, but I just like seeing Obi-Wan, so I liked getting him here at least a little bit.
Yeah, I think his entrance into the show was awesome. Like, obviously, I know Cody's not going to die, but it was super cool when he was just like on the bridge and like that bomb was coming in, and just how he ended up just like swiping through the bomb, and you could just feel like the score kick in, and like that slow scene of the smoke just shattering like around his lightsaber. Oh, it was so good. Like, people. Like, there's a reason why everyone loves Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's just so majestic in what he does.
Majestic. Is there anything else you want to point? Like you said, we talked. Grievous was shown. We got. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Any other big notable characters? Like, also we had Yoda and talking to the council and whatnot. But anything else I'm missing to show wise is like an Easter egg or anything?
Um,
I'm
I'm
sure there
trying to
is that we've
think.
missed, and you'll get an article in 2 hours, but like the 5 things you missed,
I
and
know, I'll be pissed.
yeah,
No, I can't think of anything else. I mean, and to me, it seems like, aside like from the obvious Easter eggs of them just like the term fulcrum, them going to Coruscant and all that stuff, and just like, yeah, thinking about all of those different things. And I'm still wondering if we're gonna get information on Maul, like, because obviously the comic book, like we were talking last episode,
yeah.
like the comic book details, like how okay, Palpatine wanted to free him, so or let him get away so that they could lead him to Mother Talzin, so that Palpatine could kill her because she was so powerful on the dark side. I don't know if we're gonna get like any coverage of that. I wouldn't mind it. I would really like it, but to me at this point, it seems like we might not.
Yeah, the only thing
But
that hope is that the episodes, if they are also half an hour, the first like 10, 15 minutes of the next episode could be a lot of dialogue between Ahsoka and Maul and what's been going on in their lives, etc. So there is a chance, I think, if the rest are half an hour, then I think we could get that. But if they're not, then I think if I had a gun to my head, I think it's unlikely. I think it is a chance we just move along. But if they're a bit longer, you never know.
yeah, if anyone like wants to like look into that Maul stuff, the comic, I don't know if you can see it. It's
Yeah.
like Star Wars, Darth Maul and Dathomir, and it says this is the best part: you can't keep a bad Sith down. Just great.
Oh my god.
That's Disney Star Wars for you.
Yeah, that's I can't I can't endorse that. That's some cheesy ass shit. Anything else with the episode? I think I used all my notes that we kind of talked about non-spoilers and spoilers, but anything else for you that you wanted to bring up?
Um, no, I mean, I think that's like pretty much everything. Just again, I'm super excited to see what next week is gonna bring. Like, at this point, like anything could go. Like, I do feel, and I'm hoping that we aren't gonna have it like end on Order 66 being the last episode. I kind of would like Order 66 to happen in episode 3, and
Mm.
then the fourth one being like kind of like what they do with like the earlier seasons of Game of Thrones. Like the second to last episode is the biggest battle, and then the last episode they're just kind of like softening the story and sending everyone on
Yeah.
their paths. I'd like them to do that, I would think, because this is the end of Clone Wars. So how they're going to end it, this is going to be huge. It's going to connect us to the Mandalorian. It's going to do all that. Oh, they another thing before I forget, they did mention what's her face? I gotta look it up. Mandalorian. I think Ursa was her name. They definitely called her by name. Yeah, Ursa Wren. So Sabine Wren in Mandalorian.
Yes.
Yeah, so her mom was in this episode of a bit, and a lot of people are saying that I think that they were saying like maybe Ursa Wren was like the armorer. I think there are a lot of people are, I don't know, like the girl that was in the Mandalorian armor talking in one of the older episodes that sounded like the armorer. I think people are saying it's Ursa Wren, but I'm not sure because she sounded way 100% like the armorer. She didn't sound like Ursa Wren,
Hmm.
so I'm confused a little bit. But in this episode, Ursa Wren was in this, so it was very cool to see that. And for a second, I don't know why I thought this, but like that purple-haired girl, her name was Rook, I think, when she was next to Gar Saxon. It was like the behind view. I was like, is that Sabine Wren? And then I got the front shot, and she had like the white, pale, like emo-looking face. Like, no, this is a different Mandalorian. Okay,
And you
but
mean Sabine from the Rebels, right? Not Mandalorian?
yeah, from Rebels, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You said the Mandalorian, so I was like, wait a second, did I miss her in that show? But we got there. We got there.
There.
Yeah, so next week that'll be exciting. I think I'm not sure if I got an episode title here. I don't know for sure because I think it says episode 10's The Phantom Apprentice, and if that's the case, that's
Phantom Apprentice.
if that is the case, that is
Oh.
pretty hype for episode 10. So yeah, I'm very excited for the rest of this arc. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see all these 3 episodes and then watch these all together. But yeah, I think, like I said, this was movie quality. I said at the beginning of the episode, I think this might be the greatest episode of all time. Have to watch again, have to see the follow up, but at least just this one episode by itself, it just had a different feel. It just had a S tier sort of feel. So I give it 2 thumbs up, but I give it, 2 toes up. I give it everything. I give it the standing ovation with a salute. It was a fantastic episode, and I cannot wait for more.
Could you imagine if they called episode 9 Star Wars The Phantom Apprentice?
Star Wars episode, why would they call it that?
Just because of like Kylo Ren, right? Being like Sidious's new apprentice or whatever, and he's like he
Yeah.
ends up not being though. It'd just be kind of cool to think.
Yeah, you
I
actually
don't
would have
know.
had to like write the Emperor more of a character though for that to be happen and not just I'm gonna do the same thing as Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, pretty
Fucking
much.
hashtag Ben Solo deserved better. Taylor, what are you giving this episode?
I'm gonna give this episode a solid I'm gonna give it like 2 thumbs up and 2 pinkies up.
Wow, wow, the double hang loose is
Yeah, it was
yeah.
just so good. It's probably like my favorite arc of the Clone Wars is definitely the Corel stuff, but I mean, this is probably like my right now. I definitely have to say it's my favorite episode of the Clone Wars right now as well. So yeah, it's
Nice.
just so good.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed this. We will in the future be trying to figure out this video thing because we might be doing this remote casting for a while. So this was the first test run. So if you're watching, we appreciate it. But everything, whether it's like audio or if there's video lag, we're going to be trying to smooth it all out because we're on uncharted territories here. Just like Darth Maul dealing with Ahsoka next week, we haven't dealt with the situation either. We were expecting just sitting here in person. So thank you very much for tuning in this. Please come back next week. I think next week's going to be another juicy one. May the force be with you.